Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be breaking down the 4-game early slate on Draftkings. We're going to have a separate video out for the main slate, also only 4 games. Make sure to check that out after this video here. But for now, let's just look at these 4 games. No weather issues that we need to be paying attention to. All the games are very similar, 75 to 80-degree temperatures. There might be a slight breeze blowing out in Wrigley, but other than that, no issues, no real advantage for the bats in any of the parks. So we could just dive right into the pitchers. And there's really only 3 pitchers that I'm interested in for cash games. It's pretty ugly. We don't have any true studs on the slate. Molly here for Cincinnati. He's going up against a decent San Francisco offense in that small Cincinnati ballpark. But comparatively to the other pitchers on the slate, he's clearly got to be one of the top options on the slate here, just with what he can provide. If you don't like Molly and you're nervous about the San Francisco bats or that small ballpark or whatever, Rich Hill, I think, is just as good, if not better, of an option. He had his struggles early on in the season. We all know about those, but he's really turned it around as of late. He shut down the Yankees. He shut down Oakland. Houston, he only went 3 innings, but that was scheduled. I don't be concerned about him only going 3 innings there. So he's gone 3 straight starts without allowing a single earned run. So he's in great form right now. He's facing against a weaker Baltimore offense, so he's in a better matchup than Molly. So Rich Hill, right there up at the top as somebody you need to consider for your cash games. And the third guy is going to be Herman for the Yankees, going up against Texas. A Texas team that just got no hit by a fellow right-hander, Corey Kluber. So Herman, he provides a fantastic floor. If you need that extra 700 savings from Rich Hill because you want some extra bats, another fine option for you here. It's pretty straightforward with the pitching. Molly, Hill, Herman, pick 2 of them for your cash games. Everybody else, I think, is GPP at best. I don't trust them. They're either in bad matchups or they're just bad pitchers in general. So we'll just go game by game really quick. Just because there's only 4 games, it won't take that long to talk about the bats here. San Francisco, GPP at best here. I think they're a fine play. They're in that small ballpark. They're going up against Molly, who has struggled recently. I mean, the strikeouts are there, but he has allowed 5 home runs in his past 3 games. And the hits, look at his hits, 9, 4, 7. So guys are getting on base against him. So San Francisco, I think, is a solid GPP option. But Cincinnati are the bats that I want to target in this game here. They're going up against Johnny Cueto. So right-hand pitcher, we're looking for those left-handed bats. Now the Cincinnati offense against right-handed pitching is the best in the league. They're number 1 in batting average, number 1 in slugging, number 2 in WOBA. They might be number 2 or 3 in isolated power. So they're at the top or in the top 3 in nearly every single offensive category against right-handed pitching. And they're at home where they average over 6 runs a game, which is the best in the entire league. They have the best home offense in the league. So Cincinnati, clearly in play. A lot of their left-handers, I think, are going to be in play. So Winker, Naquin, Barnhart down in the order. I don't know about Moustakas. If he's going to be playing, he's day-to-day, but he's another guy that you could be throwing in there. They are expensive. But we'll do a little bit of roster construction or lineup construction here after we get through the games, and we can kind of show you where the builds are going to kind of lay out. Tampa Bay versus Baltimore. I don't have any interest in Baltimore going against Rich Hill. If you wanted a one-off from Baltimore who maybe could do something, it's a relatively cheap price. I'd go with Austin Hayes. He has great stats against left-handed pitching. So he's hitting against left-handed pitching. He's hitting over 300. He's got a 390 WOBA against them. His OPS is over 900. So he's got fantastic stats. against left-handed pitching. But as a team, not really interested in. But as like a one-off, if you need the savings, I think it makes a great play. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is the team. They went off on Tuesday night. They were Chalk City, and it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. They're going up against Kramer for Baltimore. So those lefty bats and even some of the righty bats for Tampa Bay should definitely be in your cash lineups. Going over to Baseball Savant here. Fantastic site. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. So this is Dean Kramer's pitch highlighter is what they call it. So he has 4 pitches: four-seamer, curve, changeup, and cutter. So a four-seamer and cutter, they're both fastballs. So we'll organize this by fastballs here. And down at the bottom, we see that Kramer throws his fastball, or a fastball, 77% of the time. Okay, so it's kind of his bread and butter. That's what he likes to go with. He'll just try to throw it past you. He's not really going to be doing much else, so not a lot of movement on either of these pitches either. So majority of his pitches, four-seamer and cutter. Now, if we go to Baseball Savant, still on Baseball Savant, but we go to the search settings, we'll search by pitch type. We got the four-seamer, we have the cutter here. Batter against right-handed pitching, like Kramer. Tampa Bay Rays, season 2021. And I already searched everything, and look at these results. It's pretty incredible. Now, Choi, he only had 3 at-bats, so throw him away. Throw him away. We don't care about that. But Brandon Lowe hitting 294, a 541 WOBA. Meadows, 341, a 478 WOBA. Wendell, it's just go down the list, and these are the guys that are sticking out. Rosarena is 9 for 24 against these pitch types so far this season. So Tampa Bay is in a smash spot once again. They were in a smash spot last time. They're in it once again. Let's add in slugging percentage to the search results here to see what we get. Yeah, so Low right up at the top. Zunino, he had those home runs on Tuesday, could boost the numbers with the slugging there. But Meadows, Wendell, they're all right up there. So Tampa Bay, I think, is another smash spot. They're going to be chalky, but you definitely need to be putting them into your cash lineups. New York and Texas. Texas does do better against right-handed pitching. Kiner Falefa, he is hitting 412 in the past 2 weeks against right-handed pitching. Gallo has a 430 ISO against right-handed pitching. So they have the pop. It is there, but I'm not too interested in them at all on the slate. Obviously, it's a small slate, so everybody's going to be having ownership, but not too interested. Yankees bats going up against, who are they going up? Dunning, I believe? Yes, going up against Dunning. Dunning's really struggled on this season, so I wish there were more lefties in the Yankees lineup. You can see he's just been getting drilled so far this season. He walks a lot of guys. He lets up a lot of hits. It's not good. I wish there were more Yankees lefties, but the one Yankee lefty that is there is Gardner, and he is super cheap. 2.4. So if you're looking for some value, even if you do a one-off on him, fantastic value play there in Gardner. And then the last game, Washington versus the Cubs. You got Trevor Williams going against Joe Ross. Now, Chicago really struggled against right-handed pitching. If you look at their season numbers, they've really struggled. However, if you break it down by April and May, it's heavily weighted to the side of April because of just how bad they were. Remember, they had that historically bad start. But in May, if you filter it just to May, the Cubs are top 5 offense against right-handed pitching. And Joe Ross is not that great of a pitcher in general. So the Cubs, great spot. Obviously, you want to target those lefties. Jock Peterson, he's been doing great lately against right-handed pitching. Anthony Rizzo is day-to-day. Obviously, if he is good to go, he'd be a fantastic play at first base here. He is competing against Choi here, who's probably going to be more popular, but hey, spending up there if he is in. One concern I do have with Rizzo here is the injury is to his back. And as a batter, when you have that much torque going around and how important your back is, even if he is good to go tomorrow, I would have a slight pause with entering him in my lineups there. Washington going up against Trevor Williams. Fine play. They're not bad. They're not a great play. I'm not going to dive too much into them there. So Tampa Bay, absolute number one for me. Cincinnati, probably 1B. And then Chicago and New York from then on. So let's do some lineup construction here, kind of see what we can play around with. The Tampa Bay bats are cheap comparatively. So if we were to throw in a bunch of those lefties here, so if we throw in Lowe and we throw in Meadows, who's going to be crazy popular, we throw in Choi, you can kind of see they're not expensive at all. So you could have the 2, 3, 4 hitters, all lefties going up against Kramer. They all have fantastic numbers against his pitch types. And you can jam in the top 2 guys of Molly and Hill, and you're still going to have nearly 4,000 remaining for everybody else. So Tampa Bay is great. Not only do I think they're in the best spot, but they're also very, very affordable. You can definitely jam them in to your lineups. If you want to fade the Tampa Bay chalk and you think that they might take too much ownership, you can go with Cincinnati, who I think is just as good. But here's the thing, on such a small slate, everybody's going to have ownership. You're not going to be sneaky getting 5% ownership on really any of these teams here. Cincinnati, definitely a bit pricier. So if you were to throw in kind of their lefties, so Winker, Naquin, Barnhart, I mean, this isn't the best correlated stack just because of where they're placed in the batting order. I don't know if Moustakas is playing tomorrow. He's day-to-day, but let's throw him in there anyways, and then do the same thing. If we throw in Molly and Hill, 3.1 remaining. So that's kind of tough. So maybe you want to get off of Molly, who is going up against a better offense than Hill is, and he's in a tougher ballpark situation. So maybe you go down to Herman for some safety. Now you're at 3-4. It's totally doable. You can absolutely do that, especially if you throw in like a cheap play. Like I mentioned earlier, you can throw in Hayes. Well, maybe not Hayes going up against Hill. But if you had Molly here, you could go Hayes. But if you throw in Gardner down here at 2-4, so now you're looking at 3-7, 3-8 for your remaining guys there. There's lots of ways that you can go. I don't think salary is going to be an issue at all here. You might have a salary crunch if you want to go with the Chicago bats, who are really priced up there. But Brian's doing well. But the lefties aren't too bad. Peterson's a guy that I would be targeting. Happ would be a guy that I would be targeting here. If Rizzo is in, I know I mentioned his back, and that is a concern, but if I'm going for GPP, I want to separate myself, because at first base, I could see Choi being a very popular option for Tampa Bay, who's 1,600 cheaper. So Happ, Peterson, Rizzo, you can get 3 lefties right there, and you can pair them up with Hill, or if you think that Williams can keep things together, go for Williams. I mean, if you like the Chicago bats, clearly you think they're going to do well. They're in a good spot to win for their pitcher, and that would really separate you there. So you'd have 4.4 or 4,000 remaining, and then you can throw in some of those Tampa Bay bats that we were talking about. Zunino, Lowe. I don't want to give you a line here. I mean, but I think this is going to fit in pretty nicely here with Meadows at 4K. So there's lots of routes that you can go. salary is not going to be an issue on this slate. So pick some teams that you like and just kind of go with it here. Tampa Bay, number 1, Cincinnati, number 2, Chicago, number 3. I think San Fran's a great GPP spot just because of that small ballpark. They are a decent offense, and they're going up against the quote-unquote best pitcher on the slate. That could scare a lot of people away. And that's pretty much it. It's not a large slate here. There's not too much else to break down. I like Molly, Hill, and Herman for my 3 cash pitchers, choosing from. Everybody else, GPP at best here. So good luck in your contest tonight or this afternoon. Make sure to check out that other video that we have coming out later for the night slate. Also a 4-gamer. Mega Ruler 31 is going to have that video for you guys here. As always, hit that thumbs up button, drop a comment. That engagement really does help us out. It helps us provide all this free content to you guys. Let us know what you like, what you don't like about the format of these videos. We really do appreciate, and we'll reply to all the comments that you guys do post. So thank you once again, and good luck in your contest this afternoon.